Welcome to the EQ Video Tip. I'm your host, Eric Forsetter. It's great to have you back. As always, we're going to jump in and review the goals of EQ Video Tip before we get to this week's episode. Welcome back. Last time we were talking about 5 questions and different tips to help you become the most interesting person in the room, whether you're at a cocktail party, for personal stuff, or a networking event. We're going to go through as well and review those tips and jump into new questions and tips to help you become that most interesting person in the room. Remember, part of it is going to be body language and the way you smile and the way you're interacting as well. So take a moment, review those tips, and let's jump into this week's tip. Tip number 1, and this is the question actually, what's the most influential book that you have read recently or in your lifetime? What it does is it's a question in a question itself, which is great because once that person starts talking about the book, you can ask follow-up questions like, how did it impact your life, your marriage, your career, your business, you name it. It gives that person a deep conversation to begin with, and you learn more about that person and provide a topic that has possibly altered that person's life in a positive way over time. So take a moment and think about what you would ask and how you would ask that question in terms of follow-ups. What's the most influential book you've read, and then think about those other questions you're going to use as follow-ups to make that conversation really engaging. Tip number 2, be a giver, not a taker. And that kind of goes back to our first question. We want to add value to the conversation. We want to make sure we're giving to the conversation as opposed to taking everything away. So when you're asking questions of someone, make sure you're engaging them. Make sure that you're hoping when you ask that question, it's something that will interest them, but not only that, give them a chance to engage about themselves as well. Because if you're only taking from the conversation, no one's going to want to talk to you. And if you're only talking about yourself, again, people will nod for a while, but afterwards they'll walk away. So remember, be a giver, not a taker. Tip number 3, great question to ask. What absolutely excites you right now? When you think about it, it gives someone the opportunity to ask or to talk about their family, their career, the new job, an exciting phase of their business, whatever it might be, but it gives them that personal touch to really open up and tell you everything. It could be the arrival of a new baby, or having found their true love, or starting a new business. Whatever it is, it gives you all the ideas and places that you want to take a conversation that is personal to someone and allows you to connect the dots and ask follow-up questions as well while engaging their personal and interpersonal needs right now. So remember, what absolutely excites you right now. Our next tip, with everything we've been asking, we need to approach every conversation with a growth mindset. You want to be a sponge. Gather information and be the learner as opposed to the teacher. Because if you think you're going to impose your wisdom on someone, they really could care less. But if you let them impose their wisdom or the different things that they want to talk about, you have an open growth mindset. And that mindset will allow you to become more connected to them much easier. And you're engaging with them with interaction because, again, they want to tell you things. So remember, have every interaction with a growth and open mindset so that you have the opportunity to engage with that person. Our last question, or our last tip, I should say, for the week. What's the most important thing I should know about you? And remember, you're going to put it as you, not yourself, but them. And in doing so, you're eliciting emotions that deepens the conversation as well, because it creates a space for you to discover the other person's things that make them tick, that maybe they're frustrated about, or maybe they're excited about. Whatever it is, you're giving them the opportunity to connect. and give you a way to engage and understand them in a better manner. So remember, what's the most important thing that I should know about you? That concludes this week's EQ video tip and the two-part series on how to become the most interesting person in the room. Now, did you notice a pattern? I'll give you a hint. It's pretty obvious. And if you didn't get it, pay attention now. You want to make sure that you're asking people and taking the initiative for them to talk about themselves, because people love to talk about themselves. Let's face it, who doesn't? So make sure that you are engaging actively with people so that they talk about themselves as opposed to you talking about yourself. In doing so, all these tips that we're going to review right now will be the key to your success. So that concludes our EQ video tip for today. Try incorporating some of these tips into your daily routine. But remember, use what works best for you and personalize it for yourself. Thank you always to our great research team for providing us with some great tips today. As always on EQ Video Tip, we want to end with gratitude. So thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Here are some resources that you can use if you want more information on EQ going forward. Thank you again, and we look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Thank you.